7 Sports.
Hi, Jim. When did you get to the point where you knew if needed, Jermaine Mathews could help you guys out as a true freshman?
I mean, in camp, I mean, there were signs early on from when he, like I said, when he got here, that he competed right away, and you know, he has that confidence that you need out there, particularly for a young guy. But yeah, then we kept putting him in situations. But yeah, we thought in camp he'd be a guy who could play.
Andy Backstrom, Letterman Row.
Jim, you talked about with Malik, I think he got the start against Youngstown State. You said it was a little bit, almost too much for him maybe in the moment. From now, I guess compared to then, what have you seen from him in his progressions?
He's just, you know, kept his focus. You know, he hasn't let it get him down. He's just been focused on getting better, you know, and learning the game, you know, and processing things at a high speed. So he's just been practicing well, you know, and just staying with it.
Austin Ward, podcast.
Jim, how would you describe your comfort level with the depth of the secondary now compared to a year ago at this time?
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, you just see it out there on the field, you know. I mean, comfortable, uncomfortable, you know, you're playing with your guys. But when you can do it and you see the production, right, and you're not holding your breath every play like something's going to go wrong, I mean, that's real. So it kind of, you know, the depth speaks for itself.
Adam King, WBNS.
This is kind of a sidebar here, but when you look at the Philly special or the brotherly shove or whatever they want to call it, when they line up in that position, if you knew that they were going to run that play, how would you teach a defense to stop it?
You know, you would want to really just play kind of like an across the board zone technique with everybody with their eyes, you know, in the backfield, people, you know, edges and, you know, kind of like 4 across, and everybody see what's going on, and everybody else kill the man with the ball. Yeah.
Tim May, the Tim May Show.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I think you answered this on Saturday. I'm stammering because I'm trying to remember exactly what I wanted to ask this, but sometimes they just get you, right? I mean, do you tip your cap and move on? What's kind of your reaction to a play like that, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, you got to take responsibility. You know, there's no tipping of the cap, or if you do it, it's kind of you do it, you know, while you're gnashing your teeth. You know, I mean, it's, and then you go back to your teaching, and you know, you go back to instances where maybe you said something in practice like, this could happen, that could happen. You know, they could do something like this. But ultimately, yeah, it's my risk. You just take the blame for it and you fix it. You know, and you tell the guys, hey, you know, I need to do a better job of coaching you on those kind of plays.
And, yeah, inside the 5, I mean, like I was asking Ryan a while ago, this defense, a lot of things are going well for it right now, but one of which is, as Josh Proctor said, if you have an inch to defend, you're going to defend it. You brought that philosophy with you from Oklahoma State, et cetera. But to see it actually happening in front of your eyes, what is just really going on with this defense right now in those moments, goal line stand moments, that just jumps out at you?
Confidence, you know, confidence only comes one way, unless it's false confidence. Real confidence just comes from practice and doing it over and over again. So, you know, you only have like certain concepts you use in those circumstances. So, you know, you just try to go against, like when we go against our offense, it's not planned. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't really know what they're going to do. So, you know, whereas when you go against an opponent, you plan it, you practice it certain plays, but it's more of just our guys knowing the system. You know, they know what we're going to call, and they know what they're supposed to do. And there are a million things that could happen, but they've covered it, they've practiced it over and over again. That's how you gain confidence.
But then the aggressiveness in that moment too, though, you can know what's coming, but
Yeah, you still got to play fast, you know, and you only play fast if you know what you're doing. You know, I've always said that if you see a player out there, and you men and women are pretty knowledgeable, but you see a player out there sometimes and they don't look like they're going that fast, and you wonder, hey, what's wrong with this guy? Is he not motivated, or does he not know what he's doing? I mean, like, you can't play this game fast unless you know what you're doing so much that you don't even have to think about it. You know, that it just happened. That it just happened. So I think that's what you're seeing showing up.
Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Jim, we hadn't seen Kai Stokes play at all this year until this past week. Is there anything that was keeping him off the field, and is there anything you've seen from him the past couple weeks that's allowed him to get in the game?
Yeah, Kai you know, just had some guys in front of him. He's always been a worker. He's always been a positive attitude guy. And, yeah, I think in the past couple weeks in practice, because, you know, all this goes on behind the scenes, I've seen kind of a light bulb come on with him where he's recognizing more plays and how he fits and what he does in the defense. So it's just kind of, you see it in practice. I think he's been getting better.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Tommy Eichenberg had a ice on his arm, whatever. You know, played last year with the thumbs.
Can't play without an elbow or a forearm.
I mean, how you know, are you concerned about his availability this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned about Tom. I mean, he'd play with one arm if he had to, you know. So, you know, I know between the trainers, they'll make the, you know, they'll make the decision for him because he'll play. You know what I mean? He'll play. If we let him play, he'll play.
The guy we haven't talked about much this year is Gabe Powers. I see he's on the kickoff coverage now. What progress has he made? How close is he to being ready?
Yeah, Gabe is close. Gabe is close. I'm glad you brought him up. I mean, he kind of worked his way on the special teams, and then he started making some plays and kickoff, and that's how it works, right? And then all of a sudden the guy gets on the travel team, and he gets to go to the hotel, and then he's around you, and you start working him in practice, and he does more and more things right. So he's close.
Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Jim, when you have a game where you give up 232 yards on the ground, but it seems more like an anomaly than anything else, how do you evaluate the performance, knowing that there's so many games where the data that haven't done that, and there's one where you have, and how do you kind of compartmentalize that?
You look at it play by play. You know, I'm not as concerned with statistics as I am just with progress and getting better. So you just look at it play by play, and you know, you fix the things you need to fix, and you continue to grow the things that you did well. But it's just play by play, really.
Bill Landis, the podcast.
Jim, there was a play at the end of the first half where Rutgers was doing some tempo. They snapped the ball when y'all weren't set. They put the formation in the boundary, and Jermaine just kind of flew into the backfield and tripped up the running back, where it looked like maybe if he hadn't, he might have scored on that play. At least that's how it looked on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Did it look that way on your tape, and what did you think of that play from Jermaine?
I thought he did a great job of pulling his trigger. You know, that's how the call was designed, and like for a freshman to be in that situation, which he's rarely in, because of, like you said, the formation, blah blah blah, everything yielded to him. Hey, this is your job here. He did it. He took his shot. I don't know if he really got him on the ground or not. I mean, JT came in and got him, but he slowed him down. So I think it's a big deal. I guess you're right, because that's an unusual formation, an unusual situation for him. The call dictated for him to do that. Yeah, that's all great, but until you see it happen on the field, he did it. And as a true freshman corner, not in that situation a lot, I think it's a big deal.
Andy Anders, 11 Warriors.
Yeah, so obviously you mentioned confidence, but what other things go into successful zone defense when, you know, the field is condensed, tighter execution, things of that nature?
It's just a lot of practice. It's a lot of situational awareness. You know, Coach Day preaches the situations and understanding the situations, and whether it's third or fourth down or red zone, where you're at, what do they like to do. There are only so many plays in football. You know, what's our call? How does it work? There's a lot of intangibles, but guys who like football, they study that stuff and situational awareness.
Jeremy Birmingham podcast.
Jim, with Sonny obviously having to play multiple spots last weekend because of the injury stuff, how do you balance the conversations with him throughout the week of where to prepare? Because it seems like he's comfortable closer to the line of scrimmage, and sometimes, at least from our vantage point, maybe looks less comfortable when he's back deep. Is that something that you have to sort out throughout the week, or how do you balance it?
No, it's just based on who we're facing, what we have available personnel-wise. I didn't think he looked uncomfortable at all. I thought he had a really good game when you look at how he fit and managed the scheme from a high safety position. I think you may think he looks uncomfortable just because he's a giant safety back there. You know, it may look uncomfortable, but to me, he looks fine, and I like him back there. But it's really week to week. What are we playing? What are they doing? What is our availability in terms of personnel?
Shock you still that that's a kid that should be a true freshman right now and isn't even 19 years old yet to see what?
Yeah, I don't even think about it. You know, he's very mature. He plays like a veteran. He handles himself like a veteran. Yeah, until you remind me, I don't even think about his age or where he's at because he acts like a veteran.
Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Jim, a lot of the sites out there have Jack Sawyer with a high grade last couple of weeks. What have you, from your evaluation, from watching him play, how well is he playing right now?
Yeah, I've said it. They're right. I guess those people know what they're doing. I don't look, but you can noticeably, he's just getting better. It's all the hard work, I think, that a lot of people don't see unless you break it down, like maybe you do or those services do, that he's controlling blocks, getting off blocks, making tackles, affecting the quarterback. You know, even if he doesn't make the sack or the hit, affecting the quarterback, and he's just been really productive.
Is a lot of his production the fact that he's playing his natural position now, and getting or comfort in the scheme? What do you sort of attribute it to?
Both. I mean, I think that's what he does best, and he's more comfortable every day. And the more comfortable you are, the better, the more you can utilize your athletic skill. And I think he's just getting really good at seeing the scheme and knowing where to fit.
Doug William Reese, Kings of the North.
Jordan Hancock started this year.
Kings of the North.
That's just the other podcast.
We'll get you a shirt. Jordan Hancock started the year as like the nickel situations more as a coverage guy, and now circumstance injuries. He's out there, he's snapped there. Just like finding anybody who can handle all the responsibilities of that nickel spot in the slot. Are there a lot of guys who can handle that? Is it difficult to find guys? And how is he done with every bit of those responsibilities?
Yeah, it's difficult to find guys, and you really don't know until you put them to the test. It's almost equivalent to like a quarterback who can run and throw. You know, like Jordan, when he has to play the nickel and in the run fit, you know, you can get beat up. You know, like a running quarterback can get beat up, and then you have to go back out there and cover a slot, which is a highly athletic skill. You know, like, you know, you can't find running quarterbacks all the time that can also throw the ball accurately, and it's very similar. You know, he gets physical in the run game, and then he has to come back and, you know, perform an elite athletic skill.
And I'm not exactly sure how to ask this question. I remember like last year when you guys played Toledo, right? You played sort of quarterback who could move around, and then later in the season you played some other quarterbacks who could move around, and it feels like maybe that was a reference point. Mm-hmm. how much does it help to, when you play a team during a season that maybe stylistically is similar to a team that you might face later in the season, but maybe is even at a higher level of doing that kind of thing? Does that matter to a defensive coordinator, or you just watch the film and it doesn't matter if you play a team like them or not?
And no, I mean, you like to have those situations, those formations, those plays, that kind of scenario. You like to have as much experience in that as you can, so you're not just starting from scratch every week, because every opponent is so different. So yeah, when you have a reference point to go back to and something you can talk to your players about, and say, oh, this is just like when we did this, it helps.
Nathan Barrett, Cleveland.com.
Well, I know you don't pay attention to statistics necessarily. I know you pay attention to the explosive plays, something you guys count every week. I think Rutgers had 7 runs of 10 yards or more. So as you went back and watched each individual play, were you seeing more evidence of, hey, this team had 2 weeks to prepare for us, good running back, or this is stuff that has to be corrected because, especially the game that's coming up in 2 weeks?
Yeah, we had 7 explosives, which I think is only maybe the second time we didn't reach that goal that we have personally. Maybe it was Notre Dame was the other one, but yes, some might take accountability for, like as was referenced, okay, bad call by me, that kind of thing. And then other ones, yeah, we have to show guys getting out of their gap, routine things that can happen unless you're diligent about it, so we had a couple of those. And they, Rutgers is an improved team, really are down there. If you were there, physically and up front, and the way they run the quarterback, it's a different deal. So, we certainly can learn from it. But yeah, you have to go through it play by play, and you have to say this is why it happened, and if it's my responsibility, I have to take responsibility for that.
When you're trying to take away a running back like that, are you sometimes having to give up something else?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a physical running back, really. Really not only talented but tough. I mean, he would, hit it up there hard, blocking for that quarterback. I mean, that creates a whole another dimension, right, to the offense.
And final question, Clay Hall, WSYF.
The phrase "working the rivalry" has been around here for 20, 30 years. Does the program still have that luxury? Is it done in a formal sense, or does that come from Coach Dave? Do you still do that?
Yeah, that would come from the head coach. I just know, I know what's right in front of me. Yeah, he does a great job of having a handle on that big picture and always working towards that.
Coach, thank you very much.